It started with flashing red and blue lights, right outside his own ranch gate. Marcus Green froze, staring through the front window as those sirens painted the dirt road in streaks of chaos. For a second, he thought maybe there'd been an accident on the highway. But when the lights stopped right there at his gate, a cold realization sank in. They were here for him. Marcus wasn't a criminal. He wasn't even under investigation. He was a rancher. A quiet man who woke up before sunrise, fed his horses, rebuilt fences, and minded his business. But that night, standing on his porch with the Texas wind brushing against his face, he understood something he'd always hoped wasn't true. Sometimes, peace doesn't last when power and prejudice start to mix. For most of his life, Marcus had lived on the same piece of land his great-grandfather bought after serving in World War II. 500 acres of raw, open country. To him, it wasn't just property. It was legacy. Every inch of soil carried stories. Of struggle, of pride, of survival. He'd spent years restoring what time had broken. The barns, the fences, even the old windmill that hadn't turned in decades. Kids from the local community came every weekend to ride horses and learn about ranch life. He wasn't rich, but he was respected. Everyone in town knew Marcus Green, the quiet man who gave more than he ever took. Then came the new development. Rows of identical white houses, manicured lawns, matching mailboxes. Like something copied and pasted from a catalog. And with it came the Oak Valley Homeowners Association, led by one woman, Karen Whitfield. Karen was the kind of person who thrived on rules. She didn't lead, she controlled. And when she found out Marcus's land shared a border with her freshly minted HOA community, she decided that his property, his ranch, should fall under her jurisdiction. Marcus laughed when he first got her letter about HOA compliance. He tossed it in the trash. His ranch wasn't part of her world. Never had been, never would be. But that laughter disappeared the night those flashing lights rolled up his driveway. Because this time, Karen wasn't sending letters. She was sending authority. And Marcus knew. Whatever was about to happen wasn't going to be fair. It was a quiet Sunday evening, the kind that made life in the countryside worth every bit of struggle. The sky burned orange over the pastures, the horses grazed peacefully by the fence line, and Marcus sat on his porch sipping sweet tea, listening to the cicadas hum. But then, the calm broke. Engines. Low, heavy, synchronized. Not one, but three of them. Marcus stood, squinting toward the gate at the far end of his driveway. Headlights bounced off the dirt road as three black SUVs rolled in, tires crunching against gravel. His first thought was that maybe it was a delivery gone wrong. Maybe a lost tourist. But as the doors opened, the air shifted. 12 men stepped out, uniformed, earpieces glinting under the sunset, badges hanging from their necks. And right behind them came her, Karen Whitfield, climbing out of the passenger seat like a movie villain in pearls and heels, clipboard in one hand, smugness in the other. Marcus's stomach tightened. He set his tea down. "Evening," he called, voice steady but suspicious. "Can I help you folks with something?" Karen plastered on her professional smile, the kind that meant trouble. "Mr. Green," she said sweetly, "we've received multiple complaints about unapproved structures and code violations on this property. We're here to issue a cease and desist and escort you off restricted land." Marcus blinked. "Restricted? Lady, this is my land. You're the ones trespassing." She glanced at her clipboard. "According to HOA maps, your eastern fence line overlaps with community property. We're within our rights to enforce compliance." He laughed, a short, humorless sound. "Your HOA didn't exist when this fence was built. You can take that map and shove it right back into whatever office printed it." Karen's face hardened. The so-called security team began spreading out near the gate, hands brushing over their belts. One of them leaned toward his radio and muttered, "He's resisting." That single word made Marcus's blood run cold. Resisting. "You haven't even told me what the hell you're doing here." Karen folded her arms. "Then call the sheriff," she said smoothly. "We already did." The faint wail of a siren began to echo in the distance. Marcus's heart pounded as realization hit him. They were setting him up. This wasn't about fences or maps. This was about power. And someone was trying to take his from him. The sheriff's cruiser rolled up in a cloud of dust, its siren cutting off with a sharp wail. Marcus felt a rush of relief. Finally, someone with sense. But that feeling vanished the moment the sheriff stepped out of the car and walked straight to Karen Whitfield, shaking her hand like an old friend. Marcus's stomach dropped. "Sheriff," he called, stepping forward. "They're trespassing on private property." Karen spoke before he could continue, her tone rehearsed and dripping with fake concern. "He's expanded his fence, Sheriff. He's encroaching on HOA-protected land. We just came to enforce community boundaries." Marcus clenched his fists. "That's a lie. I've lived here 20 years. My grandfather built that fence himself, long before any of these houses existed." The sheriff avoided his eyes. "Look, Marcus," he said, voice cautious. "We don't want any trouble here. Let's just sort this out peacefully. Why don't you come down to the station and talk?" Marcus's blood boiled. "Talk? You want me to leave my own land while strangers trespass on it?" One of the guards, tall, muscular, itching for a fight, stepped forward and unlatched the gate with a click. "Sir, please calm down," he said, taking a slow step onto Marcus's driveway. That's when something inside Marcus snapped. He pulled out his phone, hit record, and held it steady. "Step one more inch," he warned, his voice cold as steel, "and this video goes viral. You're trespassing on federally registered property." The man froze. The others hesitated. Even Karen's confident smirk faltered as the red light on Marcus's phone blinked in the dark. "Go ahead," Marcus said, raising his voice. "Tell the world what you're doing. Tell them you're trying to arrest a black man on his own land." The silence that followed was deafening. The sheriff looked uncomfortable now, glancing at Karen. She forced a smile, pretending everything was under control. But her voice cracked. "Mr. Green, there's no need to be dramatic," she stammered. Marcus didn't lower the camera. "Dramatic," he said. "You brought armed men to my home." He posted the video that night. Within hours, it hit 1 million views. By morning, national headlines had his name. And suddenly, the quiet rancher they tried to silence had a voice the whole world could hear. By sunrise, Marcus's video had exploded across social media. The clip of Karen's smug face, the fake officers stepping over his gate, and his calm, unwavering voice had turned into a national talking point. The caption read, "HOA tried to arrest me on my own ranch." News outlets replayed it. Commentators debated it. People were angry, furious even. The internet wasn't just watching. It was rallying behind him. Messages poured in from across the country. People sharing their own horror stories about corrupt HOAs, power-hungry presidents, and racial bias hidden behind community rules. Then came the phone call that changed everything. "Green." The voice was calm but firm. "My name is Lena Morris, civil rights attorney. I saw your video. I think we can do more than make noise. We can make law." Within 48 hours, Lena arrived at the ranch with a team of legal experts. She examined Marcus's documents, land deeds, survey maps, tax records. Her eyes widened. "They redrew your property lines," she said softly. "The HOA literally altered county maps to claim part of your ranch as theirs. That's fraud, and it's illegal." Marcus's jaw tightened. "So what do we do?" Lena smiled faintly. "We fight." And they did. Together, they filed a lawsuit so massive it shook the entire region. Cameras followed every step. Marcus walking into the courthouse in his hat and boots, Karen hiding behind her lawyer, her perfect composure cracking under pressure. During the hearings, Lena presented the falsified documents, timestamps, and emails. Karen's voice trembled on the stand. The judge's face hardened. When the verdict finally came, the courtroom went silent. The HOA is hereby dissolved. All charges against Mr. Green are dismissed. Mrs. Whitfield is permanently banned from serving on any homeowner association board. Karen broke down. Reporters swarmed. Marcus stood tall, quiet, tears burning behind his eyes, not from anger but relief. But victory wasn't enough. He'd seen too many people lose to the same kind of system. So he used his settlement money to found the National Homeowner Freedom Council, an organization to monitor and reform HOAs across the country. And within 2 years, Marcus Green, the man they tried to arrest on his own ranch, now held authority over every major HOA in America. Months later, the world had moved on, but Marcus's story had not been forgotten. His face had been on headlines, interviews, podcasts. His voice, once confined to the quiet wind of his ranch, now echoed across the nation. But Marcus himself? He never changed much. He still woke up before sunrise, fed his horses, and watched the sun climb over those same 500 acres his grandfather once walked. Only now, when he looked out over that land, he saw more than fences and fields. He saw freedom. The ranch that almost got stolen from him had become a symbol, a reminder that ownership isn't just about property. It's about dignity, the right to stand your ground when the world tries to move your boundaries. Every week, letters arrived at his ranch, handwritten envelopes from people he'd never met. Some were from farmers who'd fought back against bullying associations. Others were from single mothers who lost their homes to HOA fines. They thanked him, not for being perfect, but for being brave enough to record, to speak up, to fight. Marcus would read those letters on his porch at dusk, smile quietly, and whisper, "That's why I did it." Karen Whitfield disappeared from the public eye after the lawsuit. Rumor had it she moved out of state, changed her name, tried to start over. Marcus never bothered to find out. He didn't need revenge. He'd already won in ways she'd never understand. One fall evening, as golden light spread across the hills, a reporter came to film a follow-up story. She asked him, "Mr. Green, how does it feel to control every major HOA in America now?" Marcus chuckled softly, looking toward the horizon. "Control," he said. "No, I don't control them. I keep them honest. There's a difference." The camera caught his silhouette against the setting sun, strong, calm, unbroken. He took a slow breath, boots pressing into the soil that carried generations of his family's sweat. "You don't beat corruption by yelling at it," he said quietly. "You beat it by rewriting the rules." As the light faded, the reporter turned off the camera, but Marcus kept staring at the land. "You don't win by fighting hate with hate," he whispered. "You win by owning the system that tried to own you." If you were in Marcus's place, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories like this.